Book of Exodus. Chapter 16. And they journeyed from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Yashar'al came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after they departed from the land of Egypt. Then the whole congregation of the children of Yashar'al complained against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Yashar'al said to them, "Oh, that we had died by the hand of YAHUAH in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the pots of meat, and when we ate bread to the full. For you have brought us out into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger." Then YAHUAH said to Moses, "Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you. And the people shall go out and gather a certain quota every day, that I may test them, whether they will walk in my law or not. And it shall be on the 6th day that they shall prepare what they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily." Then Moses and Aaron said to all the children of Yashar'al, "At evening you shall know that YAHUAH has brought you out of the land of Egypt. And in the morning you shall see the esteem of YAHUAH, for he hears your complaints against YAHUAH. But what are we that you complain against us?" Also Moses said, "This shall be seen when YAHUAH gives you meat to eat in the evening, and in the morning bread to the full, for YAHUAH hears your complaints, which you make against him. And what are we? Your complaints are not against us, but against YAHUAH." Then Moses spoke to Aaron, "Say to all the congregation of the children of Yashar'al, Come near before YAHUAH, for he has heard your complaints." Now it came to pass, as Aaron spoke to the whole congregation of the children of Yashar'al, that they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the esteem of YAHUAH appeared in the cloud. And YAHUAH spoke to Moses, saying, "I have heard the complaints of the children of Yashar'al. Speak to them, saying, At evening you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread. And you shall know that I am YAHUAH your Elohim." So it was that quails came up at evening and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay all around the camp. And when the layer of dew lifted, there on the surface of the wilderness was a small round substance, as fine as frost on the ground. So when the children of Yashar'al saw it, they said to one another, "What is it?" For they did not know what it was. And Moses said to them, "This is the bread which YAHUAH has given you to eat. This is the thing which YAHUAH has commanded. Let every man gather it according to each one's need, 1 omer for each person according to the number of persons. Let every man take for those who are in his tent." Then the children of Yashar'al did so and gathered, some more, some less. So when they measured it by omers, he who gathered much had nothing left over, and he who gathered little had no lack. Every man had gathered according to each one's need. And Moses said, "Let no one leave any of it till morning." Notwithstanding they did not heed Moses. But some of them left part of it until morning, and it bred worms and stank. And Moses was angry with them. So they gathered it every morning, every man according to his need. And when the sun became hot, it melted. And so it was on the 6th day that they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for each one. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. Then he said to them, "This is what YAHUAH has said, tomorrow is a Sabbath rest. A set-apart Sabbath to YAHUAH. Bake what you will bake today, and boil what you will boil, and lay up for yourselves all that remains to be kept until morning." So they laid it up till morning, as Moses commanded, and it did not stink, nor were there any worms in it. Then Moses said, "Eat that today, for today is a Sabbath to YAHUAH. Today you will not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the 7th day, the Sabbath, there will be none." Now it happened that some of the people went out on the 7th day to gather, but they found none. And YAHUAH said to Moses, "How long do you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws? See, for YAHUAH has given you the Sabbath, therefore he gives you on the 6th day bread for 2 days. Let every man remain in his place, let no man go out of his place on the 7th day." So the people rested on the 7th day. And the house of Yashar'al called its name manna. And it was like white coriander seed, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. Then Moses said, "This is the thing which YAHUAH has commanded, fill an omer with it, to be kept for your generations." that they may see the bread with which I fed you in the wilderness when I brought you out of the land of Egypt. And Moses said to Aaron, Take a pot, and put an omer of manna in it, and lay it up before YAHUAH to be kept for your generations. As YAHUAH commanded Moses, so Aaron laid it up before the testimony to be kept. And the children of Yashar'al ate manna 40 years, until they came to an inhabited land. They ate manna until they came to the border of the land of Canaan. Now, an omer is 1/10 of an ephah. Chapter 17. Then all the congregation of the children of Yashar'al set out on their journey from the wilderness of Sin, according to the commandment of YAHUAH, and camped in Rephidim, but there was no water for the people to drink. Therefore the people contended with Moses and said, Give us water that we may drink. So Moses said to them, Why do you contend with me? Why do you tempt YAHUAH? And the people thirsted there for water, and the people complained against Moses and said, Why is it you have brought us up out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst? So Moses cried out to YAHUAH, saying, What shall I do with this people? They are almost ready to stone me. And YAHUAH said to Moses, Go on before the people, and take with you some of the elders of Yashar'al. Also take in your hand your rod, with which you struck the river, and go. Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock in Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and water will come out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Yashar'al. So he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because of the contention of the children of Yashar'al, and because they tempted YAHUAH, saying, Is YAHUAH within us or not? Now Amalek came and fought with Yashar'al in Rephidim. And Moses said to Yahushua, Choose us some men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow, I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of Elathim in my hand. So Yahushua did as Moses said to him and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And so it was, when Moses held up his hand, that Yashar'al prevailed, and when he let down his hand Amalek prevailed. But Moses's hands became heavy, so they took a stone, and put it under him, and he sat on it. And Aaron and Hur supported his hands, one on one side, and the other on the other side, and his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. So Yahushua defeated Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. Then YAHUAH said to Moses, Write this for a memorial in the book, and recount it in the hearing of Yahushua, that I will utterly blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. And Moses built an altar, and called its name, YAHUAH is my banner. For he said, Because Yah has sworn, YAHUAH will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Chapter 18. And Jethro the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard of all that Elathim had done for Moses, and for Yashar'al his people, that YAHUAH had brought Yashar'al out of Egypt. Then Jethro Moses' father-in-law took Zipporah, Moses' wife, after he had sent her back, with her 2 sons, of whom the name of one was Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a foreign land. And the name of the other was Eleazar, for he said, The Elathim of my father was my help, and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. And Jethro Moses' father-in-law came with his sons and his wife to Moses in the wilderness, where he was encamped at the mountain of Elathim. Now he had said to Moses, I your father-in-law Jethro am coming to you with your wife, and her 2 sons with her. So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, bowed down and kissed him. And they asked each other about their well-being, and they went into the tent. And Moses told his father-in-law all that YAHUAH had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Yashar'al's sake, all the hardship that had come upon them on the way, and how YAHUAH had delivered them. Then Jethro rejoiced for all the good which YAHUAH had done for Yashar'al, whom he had delivered out of the hand of the Egyptians. And Jethro said, Blessed be YAHUAH, who has delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians, and out of the hand of Pharaoh, and who has delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that YAHUAH is greater than all the mighty ones, for in the very thing in which they behaved proudly, he was above them. Then Jethro Moses' father-in-law took a burnt offering and other sacrifices to offer to Elathim. And Aaron came with all the elders of Yashar'al to eat bread with Moses' father-in-law before Elathim. And so it was on the next day that Moses sat to judge the people, and the people stood before Moses from morning until evening. So when Moses' father-in-law saw all that he did for the people, he said, "What is this thing that you are doing for the people? Why do you alone sit, and all the people stand before you from morning until evening?" And Moses said to his father-in-law, "Because the people come to me to inquire of Elohim. When they have a difficulty, they come to me, and I judge between one and another, and I make known the statutes of Elohim and his laws." So Moses' father-in-law said to him, "The thing that you do is not good. Both you and these people who are with you will surely wear yourselves out. For this thing is too much for you. You are not able to perform it by yourself. Listen now to my voice, I will give you counsel, and Elohim will be with you. Stand before Elohim for the people, so that you may bring the difficulties to Elohim. And you shall teach them the statutes and the laws, and show them the way in which they must walk, and the work they must do. Moreover, you shall select from all the people able men such as fear Elohim, men of truth hating unjust gain, and place such over them to be rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens. And let them judge the people at all times. Then it will be that every great matter they shall bring to you, but every small matter they themselves shall judge. So it will be easier for you, for they will bear the burden with you. If you do this thing, and Elohim so commands you, then you will be able to endure, and all this people will also go to their place in peace." So Moses heeded the voice of his father-in-law, and did all that he had said. And Moses chose able men out of all Yashar'al, and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens. So they judged the people at all times. The hard cases they brought to Moses, but they judged every small case themselves. Then Moses let his father-in-law depart, and he went his way to his own land. Chapter 19. In the 3rd month after the children of Yashar'al had gone out of the land of Egypt, on the same day, they came to the wilderness of Sinai. For they had departed from Rephidim, had come to the wilderness of Sinai, and camped in the wilderness. So Yashar'al camped there before the mountain. And Moses went up to Elohim, and YAHUAH called to him from the mountain, saying, "Thus you shall say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Yashar'al, you have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now therefore, if you will indeed obey my voice and guard my covenant, then you shall be a special treasure to me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be to me a kingdom of priests, and a set-apart nation. These are the words which you shall speak to the children of Yashar'al." So Moses came and called for the elders of the people, and laid before them all these words which YAHUAH commanded him. Then all the people answered together and said, "All that YAHUAH has spoken we will do." So Moses brought back the words of the people to YAHUAH. And YAHUAH said to Moses, "Behold, I come to you in the thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with you, and believe you forever." So Moses told the words of the people to YAHUAH. Then YAHUAH said to Moses, "Go to the people and purify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes. And let them be ready for the 3rd day. For on the 3rd day YAHUAH will come down upon Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people. You shall set bounds for the people all around, saying, Take heed to yourselves that you do not go up to the mountain or touch its base. Whoever touches the mountain shall surely be put to death. Not a hand shall touch him, but he shall surely be stoned or shot with an arrow, whether man or beast, he shall not live. When the trumpet sounds long, they shall come near the mountain." So Moses went down from the mountain to the people, and purified the people, and they washed their clothes. And he said to the people, "Be ready for the 3rd day, do not come near your wives." Then it came to pass on the 3rd day, in the morning, that there were thunderings and lightnings, and a thick cloud on the mountain. And the sound of the trumpet was very loud, so that all the people who were in the camp trembled. And Moses brought the people out of the camp to meet with Elohim, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. Now Mount Sinai was completely in smoke, because YAHUAH descended upon it in fire. Its smoke ascended like the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mountain quaked greatly. And when the blast of the trumpet sounded long, and became louder and louder, Moses spoke, and Elohim answered him by voice. Then YAHUAH came down upon Mount Sinai on the top of the mountain. And YAHUAH called Moses to the top of the mountain, and Moses went up. And YAHUAH said to Moses, Go down and warn the people lest they break through to gaze at YAHUAH, and many of them perish. Also let the priests who come near YAHUAH purify themselves, lest YAHUAH break out against them. But Moses said to YAHUAH, The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for you warned us, saying, Set bounds around the mountain, and purify it. Then YAHUAH said to him, Away. Get down, and then come up, you and Aaron with you. But do not let the priests and the people break through to come up to YAHUAH, lest he break out against them. So Moses went down to the people and spoke to them. Chapter 20. And Elohim spoke all these words, saying, I am YAHUAH your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other mighty ones before me. You shall not make for yourself a carved image, any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them nor serve them. For I, YAHUAH your Elohim, am a jealous Al, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing mercy to thousands to those who love me and guard my commandments. You shall not take the name of YAHUAH your Elohim in vain, for YAHUAH will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it set apart. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of YAHUAH your Elohim. In it you shall do no work. You, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days YAHUAH made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore YAHUAH blessed the Sabbath day, and purified it. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which YAHUAH your Elohim is giving you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is your neighbor's. Now all the people witnessed the thunderings, the lightning flashes, the sound of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking, and when the people saw it, they trembled and stood afar off. Then they said to Moses, Who speak with us, and we will hear, but let not Elohim speak with us, lest we die. And Moses said to the people, Do not fear, for Elohim has come to test you, and that his fear may be before you, so that you may not sin. So the people stood afar off, but Moses drew near the thick darkness where Elohim was. Then YAHUAH said to Moses, Thus you shall say to the children of Yashar'al, You have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. You shall not make anything to be with me, mighty ones of silver or mighty ones of gold you shall not make for yourselves. An altar of earth you shall make for me, and you shall sacrifice on it your burnt offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your oxen. In every place where I record my name I will come to you, and I will bless you. And if you make me an altar of stone, you shall not build it of hewn stone, for if you use your tool on it, you have profaned it. Nor shall you go up by steps to my altar, that your nakedness may not be exposed on it. Chapter 21. Now these are the judgments which you shall set before them. If you buy a Hebrew servant, he shall serve 6 years, and in the 7th he shall go out free and pay nothing. If he comes in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master has given him a wife, and she has borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself. But if the servant plainly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free, then his master shall bring him to the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or to the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. And if a man sells his daughter to be a female slave, she shall not go out as the male slaves do. If she does not please her master, who has betrothed her to himself, then he shall let her be redeemed. He shall have no right to sell her to a foreign people, since he has dealt deceitfully with her. And if he has betrothed her to his son, he shall deal with her according to the custom of daughters. If he takes another wife, he shall not diminish her food, her clothing, and her marriage rights. And if he does not do these three for her, then she shall go out free without paying money. He who strikes a man so that he dies shall surely be put to death. However, if he did not lie in wait, but Elohim delivered him into his hand, then I will appoint for you a place where he may flee. But if a man acts with premeditation against his neighbor, to kill him by treachery, you shall take him from my altar that he may die. And he who strikes his father, or his mother shall surely be put to death. He who kidnaps a man and sells him, or if he is found in his hand, shall surely be put to death. And he who curses his father, or his mother shall surely be put to death. If men contend with each other, and one strikes the other with a stone, or with his fist, and he does not die but is confined to his bed. If he rises again, and walks about outside with his staff, then he who struck him shall be acquitted. He shall only pay for the loss of his time, and shall provide for him to be thoroughly healed. And if a man beats his male or female servant with a rod, so that he dies under his hand, he shall surely be punished. Notwithstanding, if he remains alive a day or two, he shall not be punished, for he is his property. If men fight and hurt a woman with child so that she gives birth prematurely, yet no harm follows, he shall surely be punished accordingly as the woman's husband imposes on him, and he shall pay as the judges determine. But if any harm follows, then you shall give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. If a man strikes the eye of his male or female servant and destroys it, he shall let him go free for the sake of his eye. And if he knocks out the tooth of his male or female servant, he shall let him go free for the sake of his tooth. If an ox gores a man or a woman to death, then the ox shall surely be stoned, and its flesh shall not be eaten, but the owner of the ox shall be acquitted. But if the ox tended to thrust with its horn in times past, and it has been made known to his owner, and he has not kept it confined, so that it has killed a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and its owner also shall be put to death. If there is imposed on him a sum of money, then he shall pay to redeem his life, whatever is imposed on him. Whether it has gored a son, or gored a daughter, according to this judgment, it shall be done to him. If the ox gores a male or female servant, he shall give to their master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox shall be stoned. And if a man opens a pit, or if a man digs a pit, and does not cover it, and an ox or a donkey falls in it, the owner of the pit shall make it good. He shall give money to their owner, but the dead animal shall be his. If one man's ox hurts another's so that it dies, then they shall sell the live ox and divide the money from it, and the dead ox they shall also divide. Or if it was known that the ox tended to thrust in time past, and its owner has not kept it confined, he shall surely pay ox for ox, and the dead animal shall be his own. Chapter 22. If a man steals an ox or a sheep, and slaughters it or sells it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox, and 4 sheep for a sheep. If the thief is found breaking in, and he is struck so that he dies, there shall be no guilt for his bloodshed. If the sun has risen on him, there shall be guilt for his bloodshed. He should make full restitution. If he has nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft. If the theft is certainly found alive in his hand, whether it is an ox or donkey or sheep, he shall restore double. If a man causes a field or vineyard to be grazed, and lets loose his animal, and it feeds in another man's field, he shall make restitution from the best of his own field, and the best of his own vineyard. If fire breaks out and catches in thorns, so that stacked grain standing grain, or the field is consumed, he who kindled the fire shall surely make restitution. If a man delivers to his neighbor money or articles to keep, and it is stolen out of the man's house, if the thief is found, he shall pay double. If the thief is not found, then the master of the house shall be brought to the judges to see whether he has put his hand into his neighbor's goods. For any kind of trespass, whether it concerns an ox, a donkey, a sheep, or clothing, or for any kind of lost thing which another claims to be his, the cause of both parties shall come before the judges. And whomever the judges condemn shall pay double to his neighbor. If a man delivers to his neighbor a donkey, an ox, a sheep, or any animal to keep, and it dies, is hurt, or driven away, no one seeing it, then an oath of YAHUAH shall be between them both, that he has not put his hand into his neighbor's goods, and the owner of it shall accept that, and he shall not make it good. But if in fact it is stolen from him, he shall make restitution to the owner of it. If it is torn to pieces by a beast, then he shall bring it as evidence, and he shall not make good what was torn. And if a man borrows anything from his neighbor, and it becomes injured or dies, the owner of it not being with it, he shall surely make it good. If its owner was with it, he shall not make it good. If it was hired, it came for its hire. If a man entices a virgin who is not betrothed, and lies with her, he shall surely pay the bride price for her to be his wife. If her father utterly refuses to give her to him, he shall pay money according to the bride price of virgins. You shall not permit a sorceress to live. Whoever lies with an animal shall surely be put to death. He who sacrifices to any mighty one, except to YAHUAH only, he shall be utterly destroyed. You shall neither mistreat a stranger nor oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. You shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child. If you afflict them in any way, and they cry at all to me, I will surely hear their cry. And my wrath will become hot, and I will kill you with the sword. Your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. If you lend money to any of my people who are poor among you, you shall not be like a money lender to him. You shall not charge him interest. If you ever take your neighbor's garment as a pledge, you shall return it to him before the sun goes down. For that is his only covering, it is his garment for his skin. What will he sleep in? And it will be that when he cries to me, I will hear, for I am compassionate. You shall not revile a Lathim, nor curse a ruler of your people. You shall not delay to offer the first of your ripe produce and your juices. The firstborn of your sons you shall give to me. Likewise you shall do with your oxen and your sheep. It shall be with its mother 7 days, on the 8th day you shall give it to me. And you shall be set apart men to me. You shall not eat meat torn by beasts in the field. You shall throw it to the dogs. Chapter 23. You shall not raise a false report. Do not put your hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. You shall not follow a crowd to do evil, nor shall you testify in a dispute so as to turn aside after many to pervert justice. You shall not show partiality to a poor man in his dispute. If you meet your enemy's ox or his donkey going astray, you shall surely bring it back to him again. If you see the donkey of one who hates you lying under its burden, you shall refrain from leaving the matter to him. You shall surely help him with it. You shall not pervert the judgment of your poor in his dispute. Keep yourself far from a false matter. Do not kill the innocent and righteous. For I will not justify the wicked. And you shall take no bribe, for a bribe blinds the discerning, and perverts the words of the righteous. Also you shall not oppress a stranger, for you know the heart of a stranger, because you were strangers in the land of Egypt. 6 years you shall sow your land, and gather in its produce. But the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie still, that the poor of your people may eat, and what they leave, the beasts of the field may eat. In like manner you shall do with your vineyard, and your olive grove. 6 days you shall do your work, and on the 7th day you shall rest, that your ox and your donkey may rest, and the son of your female servant, and the stranger may be refreshed. And in all that I have said to you, be watchful, and make no mention of the name of other mighty ones, nor let it be heard from your mouth. 3 times you shall keep a feast to me in the year. You shall keep the feast of unleavened bread. You shall eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded you at the time appointed in the month of Abib, for in it you came out of Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. And the feast of harvest, the firstfruits of your labors, which you have sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering at the end of the year, when you have gathered in the fruit of your labors from the field. 3 times in the year all your males shall appear before the sovereign YAHUAH. You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread. nor shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until morning. The first of the firstfruits of your land you shall bring into the house of YAHUAH your Elohim. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. Behold, I send in Moloch before you to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice, do not provoke him, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. But if you indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy to your enemies and an adversary to your adversaries. For my Moloch will go before you and bring you into the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. You shall not bow down to their mighty ones nor serve them, nor do according to their works, but you shall utterly overthrow them, and completely break down their sacred pillars. And you shall serve YAHUAH your Elohim, and he will bless your bread and your water. And I will take sickness away from the midst of you. No one shall suffer miscarriage, or be barren in your land. I will fulfill the number of your days. I will send my fear before you, I will cause confusion among all the people to whom you come, and will make all your enemies turn their backs to you. And I will send hornets before you, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before you. I will not drive them out from before you in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the beasts of the field become too numerous for you. Little by little I will drive them out from before you, until you have increased, and you inherit the land. And I will set your bounds from the Red Sea even unto the sea of the Philistines, and from the desert to the river. For I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and you shall drive them out before you. You shall make no covenant with them, nor with their mighty ones. They shall not dwell in your land, lest they make you sin against me. For if you serve their mighty ones, it will surely be a snare to you. Chapter 24. Now he said to Moses, Come up to YAHUAH, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abiah, and 70 of the elders of Yashar'al, and worship from afar. And Moses alone shall come near YAHUAH, but they shall not come near, nor shall the people go up with him. So Moses came and told the people all the words of YAHUAH and all the judgments. And all the people answered with one voice and said, All the words which YAHUAH has said we will do. And Moses wrote all the words of YAHUAH. And he rose early in the morning, and built an altar at the foot of the mountain, and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Yashar'al. Then he sent young men of the children of Yashar'al, who offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen to YAHUAH. And Moses took half the blood, and put it in basins, and half the blood he sprinkled on the altar. Then he took the book of the covenant and read in the hearing of the people. And they said, All that YAHUAH has said we will do, and be obedient. And Moses took the blood, sprinkled it on the people, and said, This is the blood of the covenant which YAHUAH has made with you according to all these words. Then Moses went up, also Aaron, Nadab, and Abiah, and 70 of the elders of Yashar'al. And they saw the Elohim of Yashar'al. And there was under his feet as it were a paved work of sapphire stone, and it was like the very heavens in its clarity. But on the nobles of the children of Yashar'al he did not stretch out his hand. So they saw Elohim, and they ate and drank. Then YAHUAH said to Moses, Come up to me on the mountain and be there, and I will give you tablets of stone and the law and commandments which I have written, that you may teach them. So Moses arose with his assistant Yahushua, and Moses went up to the mountain of Elohim. And he said to the elders, Wait here for us, until we come back to you. Behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man has a difficulty, let him go to them. Then Moses went up into the mountain, and a cloud covered the mountain. Now the splendor of YAHUAH rested on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And on the 7th day he called to Moses out of the midst of the cloud. The appearance of the splendor of YAHUAH was like a consuming fire on the top of the mountain in the eyes of the children of Yashar'al. So Moses went into the midst of the cloud, and went up into the mountain. And Moses was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. Chapter 25. Then YAHUAH spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Yashar'al that they bring me an offering. From everyone who gives it willingly with his heart, you shall take my offering. And this is the offering which you shall take from them: gold, silver and bronze, and blue, and purple and scarlet thread, fine linen and goat's hair, and ram skins dyed red, badger skins and acacia wood, oil for the light and spices for the anointing oil and for the sweet incense, onyx stones, and stones to be set in the ephod and in the breastplate. And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them. According to all that I show you, that is the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all its instruments, even so you shall make it. And they shall make an ark of acacia wood 2.5 cubits shall be its length, 1 cubit, and a half its width, and 1 cubit, and a half its height. And you shall overlay it with pure gold inside and out. You shall overlay it, and shall make on it a molding of gold all around. You shall cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them in its 4 corners. 2 rings shall be on one side, and 2 rings on the other side. And you shall make poles of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold. You shall put the poles into the rings on the sides of the ark, that the ark may be carried by them. The poles shall be in the rings of the ark, they shall not be taken from it. And you shall put into the ark the testimony, which I will give you. You shall make a mercy seat of pure gold, 2.5 cubits shall be its length, and 1 cubit, and a half its width. And you shall make 2 cherubim of gold of hammered work. You shall make them at the 2 ends of the mercy seat. Make 1 cherub at one end and the other cherub at the other end. You shall make the cherubim at the 2 ends of it of one piece with the mercy seat. And the cherubim shall stretch out their wings above, covering the mercy seat with their wings, and they shall face one another. The faces of the cherubim shall be toward the mercy seat. You shall put the mercy seat on top of the ark, and in the ark you shall put the testimony that I will give you. And there I will meet with you, and I will speak with you from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubim, which are on the ark of the testimony, about everything which I will give you in commandment to the children of Yashar'al. You shall also make a table of acacia wood, 2 cubits shall be its length, 1 cubit its width, and 1 cubit, and a half its height. And you shall overlay it with pure gold, and make a molding of gold all around. You shall make for it a frame of a handbreadth, all around, and you shall make a gold molding for the frame all around. And you shall make for it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings on the 4 corners that are at its 4 legs. The rings shall be close to the frame, as holders for the poles to bear the table. And you shall make the poles of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold, that the table may be carried with them. You shall make its dishes, its pans, its pitchers, and its bowls for pouring. You shall make them of pure gold. And you shall set the showbread on the table before me always. You shall also make a lampstand of pure gold. The lampstand shall be of hammered work. Its shaft, its branches, its bowls, its ornamental knobs, and flowers shall be of one piece. And 6 branches shall come out of its sides, 3 branches of the lampstand out of one side, and 3 branches of the lampstand out of the other side. 3 bowls shall be made like almond blossoms on one branch, with an ornamental knob and a flower. And 3 bowls made like almond blossoms on the other branch, with an ornamental knob and a flower, and so for the 6 branches that come out of the lampstand. On the lampstand itself 4 bowls shall be made like almond blossoms, each with its ornamental knob and flower. And there shall be a knob under the first 2 branches of the same, a knob under the second 2 branches of the same, and a knob under the third 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches that extend from the lampstand. Their knobs and their branches shall be of one piece, all of it shall be one hammered piece of pure gold. You shall make 7 lamps for it, and they shall arrange its lamps, so that they give light in front of it. And its wick trimmers, and their trays shall be of pure gold. It shall be made of a talent of pure gold, with all these utensils. And see to it that you make them according to the pattern which was shown you on the mountain.